The following is the extract of a course linked in the description.
Hey guys, thanks for joining me. What we're gonna see, we're gonna continue with from the last video that we saw where we explored the 3x OSC over here. And basically what we saw was that for sound synthesis or sound design, we have oscillators. We could have several oscillators, and all those oscillators we could try to tweak the waveform, which range they're playing at, the level, the panning, to give us a certain sound, right? So we're gonna move. We're gonna go. Uh, Continue on that, and we're gonna look at another plugin, the mini sound. You should have it. It comes just with FL Studio, and this is what we're gonna take a look over here. So like you see over here, we have the oscillator. Like I say, for more sound design, this is where it really starts, but as well we have some other modules that are being added here that allows you to basically shape your sound even more, right? And basically I would say, so sound design is a field that is really it's really vast. It's, it's just as it's really deep as well, right? What I'm giving you here, like I probably have mentioned it a little bit before, is to give you the basic of when you're hearing a sound and you maybe it doesn't fit really well, but the sound is there but it's not quite there. You want to tweak it a little bit, and what I'm teaching you is giving you the knowledge to know where to go and tweak it, right? Because that was happening to me before. I didn't really know how to tweak it, and I was just passing on really good sound like that, right? That just needed a little bit of tweaking. So if you really want to go deep into sound design, what you're gonna find a lot of times is I think it's over here. So a lot of times the plugins are gonna have presets that are gonna come with it. The easiest way, where you could really start learning a little bit more about it is to just select the sound and try to see how they came up with that sound. So you could select the sound of the piano and trying to see what were the different settings or the different uh, buttons that they have touch over here to be able to reach that the sound of the piano. That's gonna help you to learn a little bit more about sound design, right? Just really get you going there. So let's get going here. Oscillator, this is what we have, and you're gonna see it's part of some of the things that we saw over here. We have the waveform, so we can select what kind of wave we want. If it's a buzz, square, saw, we have it here, and you have some additional ones that are being added here. Um, just for you, we're gonna listen a little bit to them over here. Okay, so the transpose over here is gonna be just the range where we want the sound to play in. It could be higher, could be a little bit lower over here, or it could be way lower over here. Okay, this is what you're gonna find a lot of times in many other plugins. The modifier over here, this one is more of a detuning, right? And the noise over here will just help us. Just gonna help us add a little bit more noise, right? The other one that we have here, this is specific to the mini sand, um, but you're gonna see there are some buttons. So over here you have the filter and the LFO. We're gonna see them over here as well when we're gonna get there. If we move over here, the oscillator, so basically this is our oscillator envelope, and when we have the oscillator envelope, basically we're looking at the ADSR. So ADSR is attack, decay, sustain, release. ADSR, right? And the way ADSR works, we're gonna have a look at it. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna bring everything down, just like that. Okay. So we're gonna start with the attack over here. The attack is basically the time that it takes to reach the highest point. So if I press right now, we're just hearing a blip, right? So it's just reaching the highest point right away. If I bring the attack a little bit up over here, it's gonna take more time to reach the highest point. So let's listen. So basically, this is what it takes more time now to reach the highest point. And even if I bring it even more higher, it takes even more time to reach the highest point. So this is what we have with the attack over here. The decay is basically once it has reached the highest point, right? So over here is climbing up. Once we is climbing up over here, once we have reached the highest point, how long is gonna take for it to leave the highest point and go back to basically zero? So this is what we have over here. When we have it at zero, when we don't have any decay applied, right away as soon as it reaches the highest point, right away it goes down. So this is what you're hearing right now. It's gonna go up and then it disappears. It's gone. Go up, it disappears. So it takes more time to reach over here and then it's gone. If I increase the decay, basically you're gonna see that now it's gonna reach the highest point. It's gonna take a little bit more time to leave the highest point. You see, it's not as abrupt as before. Gone. It takes more time to reach to leave the highest point. So what we have now, so usually the decay and the sustain works together. With the decay over here, once it's leaving the highest point, we're able to say after it's leaving the highest point to reach a certain level, and we want to keep it at that level. So right now we don't have any sustain, so it's basically going back to zero. But we can have it here. We can bring a little bit of sustain. So what's gonna happen over here? It's gonna take a little bit more time to reach the highest point. When you reach the highest point, because we have some decay here, it's gonna take a little bit of time to go down to zero. But instead of going down to zero, it's gonna be at the level that we have here for the sustain. And as long as our button, the key is pressed, it's gonna be kept at the sustain here. So this is what we're gonna have. Take more time, the decay, and then we have the sustain is being kept over here, right? Let's hear a little bit more. I think on this one there was too much decay, so let's just have it here, going up, going down, and then it reached the sustain point. Okay, going up, going down, and then it reached the sustain point. So basically this is what we have over here. And the risk that we have over here is once we have removed our finger from the key over here from the keyboard, how long is gonna take for the sound to totally disappear, right? So if we have it at zero, so now we are at the sustain point, I'm gonna release my finger and it disappear, right? If I have a release that's a little bit higher, it's gonna take more time for that sound to totally disappear. So up, attack, goes down to the decay, we're back at the sustain here, and now we have a little bit more release. I'm gonna release my finger, and you're gonna say instead of the sound to totally disappear, it's gonna take time to disappear. So this is what we have, right? Let me bring a little bit of decay here. Up, down, sustain, and release, right? Up, down, sustain, release, everything is gone. So this is what we have over here for the oscillator envelope, right? The filter, with the filter, basically what we have over here is a representation, is a part of a representation of what we have on the equalizer. So if I go over here and select an equalizer, what you're gonna see here, actually let me take all those and just keep, let me keep this one and let me keep this one. So what we have over here is we have the spectrum over here that goes from 20 hertz to 20,000 hertz. Within that spectrum, we have bass that are usually in that region and trebles that are usually in that region. So clear sounds or sound that are a little bit high in the spectrum. So we're able to say that we want a high pass, and basically with a high pass, we're basically saying that the sounds that are in this region, we don't want them to be represented in our sound. So anything that plays in 20 hertz, 50 hertz, 100 hertz, all of that sound, we don't want it represented. If I come up here, on the other hand over here, in this region here, I can go and I can select a low pass, and basically I'm just saying I'm just allowing sounds that are low, that are lower than the pass that I have here. So anything that is playing in the 2K region, 5K, 10K, I don't want to hear it. And we're gonna come to that when we're gonna do a little bit of mixing. But this is the representation that you have. So if I have it here, right on this tab over here, we're basically able to hear. Just one second, because I think it's this one is being represented. Yeah. So we're basically able um, to hear sounds that are in the 5, 10, 20, 20 kilohertz over here. But when I put it here, we're just able to hear more of the bass. So this is what we have again. Is just to allow you to have a little bit more flexibility, or shape a little bit your sound a little bit more. The envelope, the filter as well can have its own envelope, but we already covered that. And what you're going to see as well, you're going to be able to decide how much of the tweaking that you're doing on the envelope here that you want represented in a sound, right? The other one that is usually that you're going to see quite a bit is going to be the LFO over here. The LFO is for, LFO stands for low frequency oscillator, right? And with the LFO, what's happening is um, most of the time you're gonna have the LFO playing on the frequency over here. So with the LFO, so LFO is an oscillator, but we already have an oscillator over here. So on this oscillator that is playing here, we're able to say that we want to add an additional modulation to it. So what we're gonna have, I'm gonna have it on frequency over here. Let's go select sine, and usually the sine wave is the one that is curvy, right? That is, I would say that's the most basic one. So if I play right now, you're not gonna hear. What I'm gonna do is, let me sustain it. Yeah, and let me play. Yeah, okay, that's good. So what I'm gonna do is, right now you're not gonna hear anything because there is this amount over here is at 0. So now if I increase it, now you're seeing that this sound is modulating, right? And you're gonna hear a little bit more over here if I increase the rate. So basically what it's doing is going like this, and it's going up. It's modulating, right? So this is what we have with the sine. Basically what we're able to select here is the rate. If you wanted to that modulation to happen, instead of being to take its time to go up and go down, if we want it to happen really quickly, this is what we're able to change it with the rate. So this was the sine. With the saw, the saw is a little bit more go up, down, go take your time to go up, down, take your time to go up, down. So basically this is what we have with the saw. This is what we have with the saw over here. And the square is basically a little bit like this, right? So you go up, it takes some time up, it go down, it takes some time down, it go up, it takes some time up, right? So this is what we have with the square. This is what we have with the square. So that's the LFO. If that's what you want to apply to your sound, you have the possibility of doing that, and you can select if you want a lot of LFO, or just a little bit, right? So all of that is allows you to shape your sound. The last one that we're gonna see over here is most of the plugins, unless they're really simple like the 3S OSC over here, they're also gonna come with some effects that you can apply to that sound directly. So most of the effects, a lot of times you're gonna do it in the mixer over here, but some plugins are actually gonna come with some effects on their own. So this is what we have. Usually it's gonna be the most common effects: delay, chorus, distortion, saturation, reverb. They're all gonna be here, just depending on the plugins. In this case, we only have delay, chorus, phaser, and distortion, but some are gonna have, um, like I mentioned, reverb as well, saturation. They're gonna have it as well. Um, it's all available there. So in this case over here, It's all, so in this case over here, all the plugins, all the effects are all down, right? So what we're gonna do, we're gonna add a little bit of delay. So I'm gonna put some feedbacks here. You're able to hear that now, right? So this is the delay that we have here: chorus, no chorus, chorus now, right? So just depend on what you want. You have the phaser as well. Doesn't look like we have a phaser here. And the last one is distortion. You're definitely gonna hear as well. So no distortion, distortion, and we can go on overdrive as well, right? So now it depends on what you want. You can combine basically a lot of them all at the same time just to reach the sound that you want, right? So this is what we have. So just to summarize, we have the oscillator. We can select the shape over here. We also have oscillator envelope, which give us a little bit more flexibility on how we want to hear that sound. Filters just depends on what kind of sound we want to have coming out of the sound. You know, if we want everything at the middle, or do if we want just more sounds that are towards the high frequencies, or more bass sound. Definitely possible for us to do that. And we have the LFOs over here, where we're able to decide if we want to apply an oscillator on our original sound. And the last one will be to select what kind of effects, if we have effects that comes with the plugin, that we want to apply. So we're gonna go, so take that with the additional one that we just saw there. Just trying to think about it, play a little bit with that, and we're gonna go and see it with one of the other plugins that you could get there, and it's gonna come all together. If you have any questions, feel free to let me know. Guys, if you enjoy the content, share, like, and subscribe to the channel. I also wanted to let you know about my free mastering mini course that's going to be available there in the description. You're also going to get with that free banger drums kit, right, with some crazy samples. Basically, you're going to be able to make some crazy drum patterns. Okay, so the link is going to be in the description. It's going to let you know how you're going to have access to it, and I will talk to you in another video.